In this video, I'll be sharing with you 3 lessons I've learned from working 3 years in corporate. And I've worked in both the investment banking industry and the tech industry. So, a bit of a background, I did my undergraduate at the University of Lagos in Nigeria, graduated in 2019, and around the same time period, I got an opportunity for an internship at Bank of America in the United Kingdom. And my internship was the next year, which was 2020, and unfortunately, the COVID year. So I had to do my internship remotely in Nigeria. It was worthwhile because after the internship, I got a full-time offer to move across the world to the United Kingdom to start my career. So I spent 15 rigorous months at Bank of America and I moved across to the tech industry to work at Palantir. And so obviously I have a rich experience that would help anyone who is interested in working in corporate. Some of these lessons are things I wished I knew before starting my career, but I'm happy that at least I'm able to give someone listening to me my experience. And so you can learn some of these things that can help you climb and be successful in the corporate world if that's your steez. Obviously, I know not everyone is interested in working in corporate, but if you are, or if that's where you're going to start your career at and probably pivot into something else, this will still be useful information for you. Let's go. Lesson number 1: perception is reality. And I say this because a lot of the decisions that are being made in corporates, especially in regards to our bonuses, promotion, raises, all of these things are anchored on the way people perceive us. So it's pretty much on optics. And so many times is who people think we are as opposed to who we think we are. And these two things can be very, very different. Now, I'm just going to give an example of how people form this kind of perceptions. And it's really on the minute things that you don't think might be huge enough for anyone to latch onto to then make a perception about you on. Now, an example could be, so you came to the office today, maybe 8:15, you're supposed to clock in at 8 o'clock. Now you're late. What does that mean? Now, is there a consistent pattern of lateness? Is this somebody that would normally come to the office 8:15 every day? Oh, that means she's not disciplined, she's not organized, she's not someone that we can rely on. These are how people form these kind of perceptions about you. So they are the ostensibly small, minute things that we might not take seriously, but in the corporate space, they are things that then cascade and stack up to build the perception that other people have about us. And this perception form decisions on the long run that might end up impacting us positively or negatively. And so I remember when I joined Bank of America, and this is my colleague, God bless her soul. She reached out to me and was like, if I'm going to give you an advice that you should know at this beginning, fresh stage of your career, is perception is reality. Every single thing matters, from the way you communicate, to the way you greet other people, to the way you present at meetings, to the way you dress up to the office. All of these things matter and they build up to then form the perception that people have of you. And I know this can be brutal, but that's the game of corporate. And if you're someone who is looking to have a thriving, successful career in the corporate world, then this is a game that you have to play. Lesson number 2: do not neglect relationships. This is one that took me eons of time to learn. It took me a lot of time to learn, especially with my background. And so I've mentioned earlier that I schooled at the University of Lagos in Nigeria, moved across the world to work at the United Kingdom. Different space, different environment, different culture, different people. And this was my first time that I was being exposed to the world in the sense that in a team, you can see people from other races. And so it meant that there's a level of wisdom to which you need to understand how to navigate relationships. And so because of the challenge and the pressure and the work required to unlearn a lot of things, and then seeing this new environment as a challenge that you want to successfully navigate, I find that a lot of people just take a step back, retract, go into their shell, and focus solely on their work. And that's the mistake a lot of people make. They think their work can advocate for them. Their work has a voice. Their work can speak for them. And that's completely the opposite. If you just do good work and you anchor onto that and you're not building relationships, you will miss out from so many opportunities in the corporate world. But when you really think about it, gluing yourself to your screen will take you far because you have a lot of time to work on your task and be a competent high producer at your work. But when you dip it, how far will it take you? And so it's important to build an arsenal of professional relationships that would advocate for you in rooms where you're not there. If you want to learn about building professional relationships, I advise that you consume all of the information there is online that Carla Harris, who happens to be a vice chairman at Morgan Stanley. She started at Morgan Stanley as an intern and rose through the ranks to vice chairman. And she's so passionate about ensuring that young people that are coming into the space have the tools, the resources, and the knowledge that they will need to be able to thrive and build a sustainable career. So if you're someone who is interested in building within the corporate space, then consume all of Kala Aris's information. She was even invited at some point by CFA Society in Nigeria to speak to young people. I watched that video, I think it's about 2 hours long, and I was glued. So if you want to learn everything professional relationships, then that's where I would direct you to, because she's the GOAT. Lesson number 3, use your employer's resources for your long-term development. Yes, I said it. This is probably by far the most important thing that I've had to learn in corporate, using your employer's resources for your long-term development. Now, the reason I say this is because a lot of times we see our jobs as that small clog in the wheel of a grand thing, as opposed to taking a step back to picture how well we want to squeeze from the relationship we have with our employer. I remember joining Bank of America, and a senior colleague had told me that the least thing you can get from your employer is your salary. You have to think 360, you have to think holistically and see what areas you can drive value from the relationship. There's so many things you can learn on your employer's resources that if you had to do on your own, you'd have shelled out a lot of money and you would have not had the opportunity to do those things. Now, let's look at this from a more general level. You get to use your teammates to build your skills in collaboration. You get to use meetings to learn effective communication in real time. You get to use the entire organization to expand your personal network. What more can you ask for? More. Depending on your organization, you might have employee benefits like healthcare, insurance, car allowance, professional development opportunities, and more. So it's important that you look at the fine prints of your contracts and ensure that you've negotiated for something great. And if you have not gotten a job yet, those are the kind of conversations that you have during your interview stage, just to see, aside my salary, aside my base, what more can I squeeze out from this relationship? You can also use them as a pedestal to build and enhance your personal and professional portfolio. And what do I mean? What I mean is you can tailor your experiences to suit what you want it to be. And really, I understand that it depends on the country that you're in. So, of course, my career experiences have been in the United Kingdom. And here are the opportunities for you to join professional networks like Black Employee Group, Women Group, Group for so many other things that you might be interested in. I remember in Palantir, opportunities to join people that are interested in books, music, movies, all of these other things. They're just opportunities for you to join things that seem a bit outside of your everyday professional engagement. If you work in Nigeria, Ghana, or any other place other than the United Kingdom, let me know if you have professional networks as well. How do your professional network run? And if you don't have one, do you see an opportunity to start building one? Like, I'll actually like to know. Let me know in the comments section. On top of this, if you're someone who has a proclivity for something like event management, you might think, oh my God, I can't do that in the office because I'm in finance. That's not the case. If you're interested in event management, you can volunteer to help with organizing team meetings, also help with coordinating your colleague's birthday. So instead of waiting, especially for people who have more interest outside their work, or who want to have more learning opportunities, or who want more aside what they're doing, there are always those opportunities available. So it's important you start looking more holistically at the job and company that you're working at and see ways in which you can shape a more fulfilling career using your employer's resources. So there you have it. These are the 3 top things I've learned in 3 years working in corporates, both at the investment banking scene and in the technology scene. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next one.